Hello and welcome to APM Research, Decoding Enochian Sigils, Part 3, Conclusions. This video is just to finalise our previous research into John Dee's Enochian Sigils. We can say they do have merit, and to us they are just more glyphs, more depictions of the workings of the angel technologies from another culture. Remember, every culture will depict and even name things differently, but they are usually all relating to the same thing: the Creator's technologies in the underworld called angels. Now, it is said John Dee received these images from angels, but to us that does not seem right. I would think it is more a case of option A. John Dee has actually been to a place in the underworld that has these depictions near one of the sealed rooms the angels are kept in. Remember, scriptures tells us the underworld is their prison. This is the seal of the 144,000 sealed rooms below. Option B. There really is a way to communicate with this technology of which we haven't as yet discovered. Or option C. John Dee actually found this information in one of his books, of which it is known he had a very extensive collection. His library was quite famous and used by many scholars. To me, that would seem more probable. He was trying to decode information from a book he obtained. It does sound similar to the Book of Enoch being discovered in Ethiopia. Old Testament, where we can see you will find more realistic answers and decodings. As in modern times, this is all being misrepresented to hide how this realm really works, and that there is indeed a creator.
Enochian is an angelic language recorded in the private journals of John Dee and Edward Kelly in the late 16th century England. The men claimed it was revealed to them by the Enochian angels. John Dee didn't refer to it as the Enochian language, though. He actually preferred the celestial speech, the language of the angels, the first language of God Christ, or Adamical, because according to Dee's angels, it was used by Adam in paradise to name all things. The celestial speech was supposed to have been the language God used to create the world, and which was later used by Adam to speak with God and the angels, and to name all things in existence. After his fall from paradise, Adam lost the language and constructed a form of Proto-Hebrew based upon his vague memory of the celestial speech. This Proto-Hebrew then was the universal human language until the time of the confusion of tongues at the Tower of Babel. After this, all the various human languages were developed, including an even more modified Hebrew, which we know as Biblical Hebrew. From the time of Adam to the time of Dee and Kelly, the celestial speech was hidden from humans with the single exception of the patriarch Enoch, who, according to the angels, recorded the book of Loagaeth for humanity. The book was then lost again in the deluge of Noah. The reception of the Enochian started on March 26, 1583, when Kelly reported visions in the crystal of the 21-lettered alphabet characteristic of the language. A few days later, Kelly started receiving what became the first corpus of text in the purported angelic language. The other set of Enochian texts was received through Kelly about a year later in Carrico, where both alchemists stayed for some time at the court of King Stefan Batory. The texts comprise 48 poetic verses, which in Dee's manuscripts are called claves angelicae, or angelic keys. John Dee wrote Monas Hieroglyphia in 1564. The hieroglyphic embodies Dee's vision of the unity of the cosmos and is a composite of various historic and astrological symbols. He claims himself to be one in a trillion of men of the common sort that understand the causes of celestial powers. Dee informs his readers of some very important thoughts, that he is using gematria, notarikon, and ziruf. So we should creatively look for these things in the monas. Gematria is where letters stand for numbers. Notarikon is letters symbolize concepts, or the first letter of a sequence of words forms a new word or sentence. And ziruf is rearranging the letters of a word or phrase to make a new word or phrase, like an anagram of jumbled letters, also known as Timura. So, what I'd like to discuss are my conclusions of these sigils as well as angels based on the fact that these are technologically based. After much research on these, I'm presenting forth the information that these odd angelic names are formulas to describe the individual processes. These are pieces and descriptions of individual pieces to the machines and the mechanics. Today I will go through a few of the ones I decoded. So, agares. This means the accelerating electrical conductance travels through the anode, then turns thermal energy into mechanical work using the created pressure per volume in the natural logarithms. One result are earthquakes that occur regularly. Amon is accelerating modulus that constantly transmits the ohm over long distances. Ball means left-handed rule symmetrical arrangements create accelerating magnetic fluxes. Boer means the U shape, and we think of this in the sun halo, and this is creating the magnetic flux in light particles in each unit of energy per temperature increment. GOP is the general average of acceleration of protons. Solos is a colloidal dispersion and a mixture at the same time or equally. AMI means years of amplitude modulation broadcasting over long distances by high-level frequencies. FERFER means frequency in reference to planetary path range following units of energy increments. Another one is ENRI, and what this one means is the activation and deactivation while pushing the energy, enabling the electrical currents. Next, we'll look at Satan. Satan is the negative ampere of the timing system acceleration of the thermodynamic system. And Yeshua. Yeshua is a variable in the light particles being shared by units of acceleration. So, now that we can understand that these are all parts of a much larger system, maybe we can fully understand how this realm works. Can I fully decode each piece and put it together Probably not fully. However, someone with the understanding of these electrical subjects and magnetism involved could probably recreate these texts on a smaller scale and show how the different processes work, and teach the world by experimentation. And that's about all I have. Thanks.
John Dee wasn't just famous for sigils. His other works included Enochian tablets and other related material, such as this vision of the watchtowers, as it is sometimes named. This is a 1659 rendering of John Dee's drawing of a vision he had. The sign of majesty, the cloth of passage, was cast forth. In the east the cloth red, after the new smitten blood. In the south the cloth white, lily colour. In the west a cloth, the skins of many dragons, green, garlic bladed. In the north the cloth head coloured, bilberry juice. The trumpets sound once, the gates open, the four castles are moved. Notice how this overlay works perfectly with an Aska Mandala overlay. Both blueprints depicting the 24 elders or seniors in the centre. These of course being angel technologies in the underworld. Count the unconnected dots around the centre and you will find 24 in both mandalas. So this overlay of John Dee's is basically a mandala. The towers in the north, south, east and west also matching scriptural and Enochian descriptions and locations, as well as the Nazca Mandala overlay placing them in the same locations. This is no coincidence. Towers, portals and gates all ending up in the exact same locations on our map and grid. For full exploration, of course, these locations are a must. The easiest being the gates in the east, as they are closer to landmass and it is probably warmer. John Dee's mandala now adds more information to the APM model, such as the descriptions of 1 trumpeter, 3 ensigns, the king, 5 princes and 5 crosses. Very interesting information that now help us add more locations and processes over this grid. Notice also the 3 ensign bearers contain the 3 names of God in their ensigns. I was once asked what is sacred about geometry. Well, I think I can answer that now. Sacred geometry is sacred because it is the truth depicted in many different ways by many different cultures. The truth of how this realm really works. Over and over, our research just keeps making these connections. It is depicted on such a scale everywhere it is impossible not to see it. People's confusion comes from not knowing anymore what it all truly represents. It represents the Creator's glory in many different ways. Do you not wonder what is creating the glory you see around you? The glory taken for granted without a second thought in most cases. The Creator's glory is a technological glory which has been very well described in many texts and glyphs, and all the blueprints of the mandalas show us how it works. This is undeniable when you consider everything our researchers looked into. I for one did not expect to find a construct which of course reveals a creator. Every religion out there is telling the exact same story, the only difference being names and titles have changed over time from location to location. They are still referencing the same Creator's glory in the underworld. These are some clips I made in my very first video some years ago when I looked into the Enochian magic. I knew then there was something very special, something related to this construct and its workings. The Eye of Horus. You can see this from our sun's halo system when it fully shows. If you don't know what that means, watch the halo focus videos on my channel and you will see what our sun truly looks like when it shows. To go deeper into that, of course, just watch the other videos. These images also depict the union of elements, processes of electromagnetic projections, and how they interact with the ether. I can't decode all of these, but understand they are part of a very large process going on in our heavens and also below. Remember, as above, so below pertains to a projected model in the heavens and a physical model in the underworld. The interactions and events above are what we call luminaries and nature. The reality is that most of nature is created by technological events and play a far larger part in our lives than most people realize. That's it from APM Research, people. Know thy world, only then can you be at one with it.